So I had to make some quick changes. And I think we'll be okay for now. Excuse me. Definitely like that looking like that. 1 second. A little bit of trim on the bottom I didn't want to see. Okay, so originally this was actually going to be a different game. I actually ended up not submitting that game because, or not going forward with that game because the game this replaced was insanely hard and also marathon unsafe. So hopefully next year when I get to spend some more time with it and, you know, not have a lot going on, but still love this game. This game is hugely sentimental to me from both as a kid and now as an adult. Played a lot as a kid, rented it, beat it, and as an adult, it was my first run at a GDQ, so clearly I've got quite a bit of positivity to say about this game. Mutant Apocalypse is really fun. We'll go ahead and get it started now. I'm talking about it, start playing it. What was that? How did I not get custom skill? Whatever. Alright, so this game's fun. It has 5 X-Men that you can play. The first 5 stages you play Mega Man style. You just play each individual stage once. Doesn't matter what order you play them in. It's going to play it exactly the same. So there's no Robot Master weaknesses to unlock. We're going to start with Psylocke. She's the character I've always started with, and primarily in runs that I've done of this game. Mostly because her stage is probably the most random in the game. That and like execution errors can cost quite a bit of time. There's one issue. So one problem Psylocke has is as much fun as she has to play, she has what's called overlapping inputs, where when you do a certain move, sometimes the input overlaps and you get a move you don't want, and that can cost you a lot of time. There's evidence there. That guy out. Pretty good there. Didn't want that. I was trying to go for a knee. So yeah, she has, as I mentioned, a number of moves that have very similar inputs that when trying to do one different one can occur. There's either I saw a flip kick when I wanted knee, but it's a situation where the move you're trying to do, you don't want a different move. And her moveset is so vast that it's essentially a case of where no matter what given situation you're in, there's only one move that's correct. When that could be one of 5 different moves, that's not very coherent. Anyway, decent mid-boss fight there. He gave us some really bad luck on the second cycle when he spawned at the bottom. But we'll move past that. That guy's another reason I start with her, is because that fight can go terribly if he wants it to. That was very unfortunate. Not the setup I normally go for, but the one I normally go for is quite a bit more dangerous. And I kind of want to preserve health. So this Sendal boss isn't too bad. We do have a easy strat we're going to go for here with these head stomps, and he just ignored it. This happens sometimes. As long as he stays up front, we can just do this to our heart's content. And that'll finish him off. Alright, on the Gambit stage. Very fun character to play. Also has a really busted speed strat that we haven't quite figured out the exact science behind yet. It's really difficult, and I'm probably not going to go for it because missing it loses a lot of time. I'd rather just wheel my way in. Scissor kick, as you can tell, is very, very good. It's his primary form of movement, and it has a hitbox. So it does a lot of things very well. I'm going to be quiet here in this section. This section's very difficult. If you mess it up, you're dead. Okay, cool. Definitely got there. That feels great. I believe it was an older SDA runner by the name of Molotov who came up with that strat, and it's a doozy. Really didn't want to get hit there, but I jumped it a little bit too early, so what it is. standard beat 'em up elevator. We're gonna fight enemies on every given floor. They're not gonna be too bad for the most part. Some of them will give us some grief, but we'll deal with that as we come to it. The speed strat in question involves this barrel, which as I mentioned, I'm not gonna go for it, but we will be able to use it to clear all those enemies there. Still a solid strat, it's not the optimal one. It's unfortunate. You can definitely combo that guy with that, but range is very peculiar. Alright, so really weird boss here. Gambit has to move, as you saw before, he has a move where he throws cards as fireballs directly at an enemy. He can also throw them directly up, which is how we have to utilize this here. Just interesting to put a Contra-style boss in a game like this. That was pretty lucky. The way these lasers fire is completely random. The rate at which they do, the count of which they do, name it. We got the pole dance, but you finish off the helicopter. That'll move us on. Wolverine's starting stage is absolutely one of my favorites in the game. In fact, I was the one that's done most of the routing that's still currently active at this stage, so it holds a near and dear place for me. Would have rather hit that guy, but this is fine, I think. Just dash through these guys. Wolverine also a very good character, but unfortunately we won't be seeing him too much throughout this run. There is one stage where he's arguably the optimal character, but I haven't quite learned it with him yet. I still use the original optimal character. Mini boss. Should have a consistent pattern here. Alright, cool. Managed to get it that time. Go way through here. You can tell Wolverine's got lots of Ninja Gaiden style stuff going on. Plus this really cool dive. Used to glide past this guy, just ignore him, move on to our boss. Boss is pretty simple. Just go for 8 dives, back and forth, zigzag this nonsense. That's gonna be it. Reasonable fight there. Go ahead and play the character we're going to be seeing throughout most of the run. And yes, most of the controls in this game are fighting game based. So lots of like quarter circle forward, dragon punch motion, forward, forward. So anyway, about Beast. Beast is real good. Like real good. Easily the best character in the game, which is strange because he has the smallest moveset. He just happens to use what he has as moveset very well. Particularly the headbutt is ridiculous. This is just such a dumb move. At close range, it hits twice, so that gives it a severe amount of combo potential. You also have his jump punch, which is really busted. Can actually lead to infinites on bosses. Didn't quite get the one cycle I wanted, but I'll deal with it. I know I was going to kill him. Alright, that'll move us on. Reasonable fight for a 2 cycle. Way down. This honestly is the most untapped part of the early portion of this run, is just navigating these underground caverns. Getting up through here quickly is kind of a beating. Push the door down. For a boss, we're just going to have these 3 sentinels to fight. For some reason, they don't have health meters, but it doesn't really matter. We're just going to finish them all 3 with the same combo. See, that double hit headbutts didn't work. Perfect. Air guitar pose. Poses in this game are OD. They're so good. And onto a character we should never have to see again in Cyclops. Cyclops is pretty bad. He doesn't really have a lot to offer in this game. He does fire lasers. Optic blast, I know, but well, the meme is lasers. But he's pretty terrible overall. He has really bad movement. The only thing he can really do for movement is the slide, and the slide doesn't have any range. You only really use it to pull yourself off ledges, like when you saw there. That was late. Okay. I don't know about that video game, but okay. But ifs. Alright, we're gonna move on. Didn't want to take that hit, of course, but lose some time. RGLove is also a character that can have some issues with overlapping inputs, especially pertains to the low optic blast that I tend to go for. Sometimes that auto-corrects into a low kick, as you saw there. This guy off his vehicle, move down here. Do the swamp, we're just going to use multiple jumps through here. Avoid all this nonsense. A couple more quick waves of enemies and we'll be onto our boss. So I think this is maybe the most Mega Man X sounding song in the game. I believe it was from the same sound team. Our boss, pretty simple train engine, just gotta blast it 6 times. We're out. It really is advantageous to kill that thing as quickly as possible, even more so than like because it's a speedrun logic. It's a moving vehicle, so the longer you take to kill it, the longer it takes to wind down and for the cutscene to like trigger the ending of it. So very, very important you kill as quickly as possible. For the rest of the stages, we get to essentially pick whichever character we want to play. And for the opening, we're going to go with LRock617 on the Brood stage. She, for the longest time, was the optimal character in the stage, and with perfect execution and luck, she might still be. But the argument at this point is that Wolverine is more consistent because he has a better boss fight. LRock617 has much easier navigation through the stage, but her boss fight is questionable. If it goes well, it's amazing, but it's hard for that to happen because, one, as mentioned before with her move overlaps, input overlaps, and two, the Brood mites you have to fight while fighting the Queen Brood, which we'll get to here in just a moment, flying at random, and they can really cause problems. What I can do here. Didn't want that. We're already in trouble. That second psychic knife was supposed to be a knee. Alright, so we got rid of the claw. That's good. Don't want that. Here we're gonna knee until she gets back to her spot where she can't jump any further. It's gonna be right here. Alright, cool. So we actually recovered that fairly well. The reason that fight can be so tough is because you want to try to kill her off screen like I was able to, because then she takes no time at all to despawn. Very, very easy stuff. Why is my start button acting crazy? Not getting these cutscene skips at all. Yo, Taco Belmont with a Twitch Prime sub. Thank you so much. Good friend Taco Belmont. Everybody give that person a retro win. For the rest of the game, we're just going to be playing as Beast. As I mentioned before, he's really, really busted. First stage we have is just going to be a quick boss fight. Hope it goes well, though, because Tuss actually can kill us. Knocked him in the lava there. Got our damage boost, which is good, but missed the rebound hit, which is not. I want to get grabbed there, but okay. That's not good. I will have some iframes here, so it's not the worst, but that still wasn't good. This Fleeman racked it up. Oh, man. Taco was there for that. It was a gooder. Dude, the start button. Wish I swapped out controllers. These cutscene skips are kind of important. Alright, so for this corridor, we got a pretty precise amount of platform we're going to do. Some extra movement thrown in. 1, 2, 3. Alright, we're good. The stage is actually fairly simple once a couple of strats are learned. The really hard thing that's left is the one cycle on the boss. It is honestly really hard to do. Missed the 2 cycle there, unfortunate. Move on. Alright, so for Apocalypse, he's actually pretty simple, but getting the one cycle on him is not, but I'm still going to go for it. That's why wouldn't we? Okay. Guess I'll just drop a jump punch input, that's cool. I don't know how that didn't hit, but okay. Ay. That was so weird. Jumped, and I'm like, why? And then it just did nothing, so... things happen. Alright, so only a few stages left. The first two we're going to encounter here are merely boss fights. Wolverine's definitely the funniest character to use here, but I'm just going to go for the fastest, because why not? Beast pretty much slaughters Omega Red, but we do need good luck to have an optimal fight. He appears 4 times on the left, we're good. Perfect. Good times. He also did the teleport in, too, which I actually think is faster than walking up and hitting him. So that, I think, is the fastest Omega Red fight you can have. So that was kind of neat. For our second Danger Room sequence, we're going to go fight the good old Juggernaut. Got a quick kill associated with this guy that I'm going to go for. It costs us 3 seconds if we miss it, but you still always go for it. Missing is the second fastest strat. I didn't jump in time. I got the grab manip, but I was a little bit slow on the jump. It happens. Essentially what you want to have happen is you want to have him go for that grab that he got me with, but you want him to whiff it, which is why you jump there. Then you can just finish him off. Really, really strong. For our last stage, by far the worst stage in the game. Here we have Avalon. Avalon is definitely some nonsense. And have these acolytes that are going to get in the way. Even though I really wish they wouldn't. Walk forward so I can just get this out of the way here. Sure, video game. Had to wait that one out. Okay. First of 2 boss fights. Here we have Exodus. Only have to take him to half health and we can finish him with a jump punch combo. Like so. Not bad. Got him on first cycle too. That was really good. And here we have 2 choices. We can go for either a top corridor or a bottom corridor. I've always gone top, just I guess out of habit. I believe the other top runners in this game both go bottom. But I don't know. I don't like dealing with those electricity balls there. I'd rather just not see it. Moving on to our boss. We do have the chance at a 1 cycle here. See if we can go for it. Got there. Let's go. That was sick. God, I haven't hit the 1 cycle in a long time. That was super duper good. Not everyone's favorite, the almighty Magnus. Magneto's pretty awful. Well and true in this game. He can do a lot of stupid things that you don't want him to do. I'll have iframes to get this at least. So Magneto does some really stupid things. He's very invincible while he's in shield. You just can't hit him at all. He can also do that thing where he just comes straight at you, like so. Just tries to hit you. He doesn't do more than 2 cycles at a time, but how many cycles he does is random. He can do 0, 1, or 2. He always wants 0, and the more pink orbs he throws, the better. Here we're going to set up for something. The reason we use Beast here is the Beast fight is hard, but Beast does the most damage to him. So of course we're going to use him for that. Bounce off that. Lots of orb luck here. Too bad the fight started off so horribly. This is actually going pretty well. Lots of orb luck. What is happening? Alright, that'll finish it. A little bit shyer than that. It was definitely a sub 1830. Probably like 1829, but yeah. Good finale. Not too bad. Yeah, some things went well. Had the 1 cycle of Avalon boss kill. That was tight. It's super rare. Had I think a perfect Omega Red fight. Good Exodus, good Avalon in general. I only missed the jump right before the end and still got the 1 cycle. God, I love this game. This game is just so cool. Like, I was such a huge X-Men fan during this time, thanks to the animated series. Even though this isn't like a perfect transversement because Psylocke wasn't really prominent in that show, even though the other 4 were. But yeah, Buff Magneto is just awesome to see too. And thank you all so much for the GGs. It's always fun to be able to break this game out again. Chill out to this ending theme music real quick. Yeah, agreed. It's good. Oh, goodness. Game is a heck of a thing. It's going to be the first of our lead into the rest of the day. Got a couple Double Dragon titles coming up for you all here. First is going to be Super Double Dragon for the SNES. I originally thought about playing the PAL version of this game because it's actually faster than the US version as long as you're playing it on a US console. But it honestly feels incorrect to do that. Even though it's an interesting experiment to mess around with, it feels incorrect because it's not how the game is supposed to run. So I'm just going to play the US version and hope that goes well. Anyway, see you all shortly.